Welcome to Venator Chronicles podcast. I'm Ethan Taylor.
And I'm Dustin Jelly.
Our hope is to inspire new and old hunters alike.
We hope you can join us on this journey of lessons that we have, are, and will learn through the world of hunting.
Ooh. Could you imagine if we could play guitar like that?
Oh, that would be amazing.
Oh, man. Yeah. Way.
We'd probably be, touring, not podcasting.
Man, for sure. Oh.
Here in a little hideout. We'd be famous.
Little cubby hole.
Yeah.
Dude, so let's talk about, what do you think?
How much we suck at shooting?
I think that's a fair way to put it.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly.
Yeah. At deer, specifically at deer, that's what I'm going to say.
No, just in general.
No, I'm going to say deer and five spots and
okay, so let's
anything I shoot an arrow at. Other than that, I'm really good.
There we go. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, you're pretty much great at everything but that.
Yeah, so then we're good. I think that's the end.
Rabbits, you're good at shooting rabbits.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you later.
You're really good at shooting rabbits.
Yeah, dude. Thank you. Yes.
So
we'll get into that later.
So we were talking this weekend because of my mental issues. Man, I've got a lot of mental issues. I always thought I was a strong mental person, and then I got into hunting and archery and realized I'm a mental midget. So this last weekend, I decided to do my first indoor competition shoot.
Yeah,
and,
tell me about it, dude. You haven't shared this with. By the way, we haven't
talked about this.
Yeah, you actually withheld information from me.
For the good of our relationship.
Hey, how do they do it?
For the good of the podcast.
I was like, I have no idea because he won't talk to me about it. They're ghosting me about how he shot.
I was saving it, letting it marinate like a good steak.
Okay.
So anyhow, we'll back up. So earlier this month, a couple buddies wanted to go do the indoor, state shoot and go hit up the regionals and go qualify. I was like, hey, that's great. So I went out. I ended up buying a competition recurve and got that all dialed in. Went out last Monday, got everything sighted in and tuned in, and it was going great. So I did a kind of a quick 3-spot 300 round and scored a 272 out of it, and I was just feeling really good. Like, I'm pumped. I'm pumped for the shoot. Like, I think I can put up some decent numbers. Not like I'm going to win it, but
dude, you're balling out at that score.
Like I think I can compete. And so we get to the shoot Saturday morning and met up with our buddy Benny D. At his house. We shot a few arrows to warm up. I was feeling really good. Had this whole shot process down. We get to the competition, get signed in, and so what we have is we get 12 rounds of scoring, and then you get 2 rounds of practice before that. We stepped up to that line to the practice, and out of nowhere, I just got hit with the worst
adrenaline dump.
Yeah, adrenaline dump I have had in years, if not ever. Like, just out of nowhere. Like I was fine. We walked up, and boom.
What was it? What was it though? Was it the people around you? Was it like
nope? It wasn't the people
shots
around
matter? Is that what it was?
That's what it was. It was this actually counts. And
I've never done that.
And oh my gosh, it surprised me, and I shot some decent practice rounds. Okay, so we got to the scoring rounds, and by round 3 out of round 12, I was really like, I need to be done. Like
it was that bad.
Like I cannot recover.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I was like.
Okay, how bad was it?
It was the worst experience.
You don't have to tell me the score. Just tell me where the arrows were.
Dude, I scored a 131 out of 300. Like, I was literally not only missing my target at some shots, I missed
the whole paper.
Not just the paper. I missed the whole big block. Like, I undershot. Like, there were some shots I literally I was snap shooting. I'd pull up and boom. I couldn't even get set. I couldn't even get anchored. I couldn't even pull through. Joel Turner would have murdered me had he seen what I was doing or not doing.
Oh, were you cringing at your own shot process?
Yeah. I didn't care what everybody else thought, and it was actually a really cool crowd. The experience of just the people there, super encouraging. The best competition, atmosphere ever. I was so mad at myself. I was so disappointed in myself.
I'm still so it was just the fact that the points mean something.
Yeah. Well, so
I shouldn't say I get the idea of it. I'm just
So after doing some processing, I think what happened was with that massive adrenaline dump, I mean, just that level of adrenaline dump, you know, your body gets that physical fatigue, even if your mind doesn't think so.
Okay.
Like, I think I was just fatigued, and so I wasn't really able to, like, my front shoulder, I didn't feel like I could, like, get it set at all.
You were
I felt like it was just like...
You were not relaxed.
I was not relaxed. Everything was tense. You know, I couldn't even get set back in my anchor and pull through my shots.
Oh, boy.
And I just... And like in between rounds, I would go sit down and I would start mentally processing my shot process.
Yeah.
And I would do it and I would feel like, kind of like feel the whole shot processing.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, I'm good. I'd get back up to go shoot. Gone. Like,
are you kidding?
Just wrecked.
That's crazy.
Like what you saw at Bowfest.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
That was really good compared to this. Like, at least with Bowfest, it was just, at that time, I was just, my clicker was set too long. So, you know, physically I was having actual issues just being able to pull back.
Yeah.
Whereas this was complete mental breakdown, physical breakdown. So a mental breakdown led to an adrenaline dump. Adrenaline dump led to a physical breakdown.
Bad.
Physical breakdown led to a greater mental breakdown. Like, I literally...
You were just reeling.
It's one of those times... Reeling. Yeah, it's one of those times, like, had it not been a competition, I would have just been like, I'm done shooting today. Like, I just need to step back.
But isn't that why we do competitions?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. See? And so it was a lot of lessons learned.
Yeah.
And it was a really tough lesson, you know, like, but you know, it's been one of those ongoing conversations we've been having about our shot process and the mentality behind the shot process.
Whether it's on the line, in the field.
You know, or with buddies. And I think this is something that you and I, we tend to process things deeper, which can be great.
And it can also kill you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. This is what we started talking about a little bit, was like the fact that we want to dig into the minor nuance. There's people who can walk up and they just like fling a bunch of arrows.
Yeah, they
no
pick
big
up a
deal,
bow and boom, bam.
And they don't mind.
Like Caleb Dushkin.
I
swear he just picked up a bow. Was like,
well, don't say that because I'm about to put those people down. So just give me a second here, okay? Not really, but sort of. But the idea, and whatever. I'm not even gonna give a.
I'm not saying that he equates to that, but he's one of those guys that literally
what I'm saying
picked up a bow and was just like, boom, I'm good.
Dude, he's chill as he's awesome. Okay, not referring to Caleb, but like people who can pick up bows and they're
just happy flinging.
Yeah, they're just happy
flinging arrows,
shooting arrows, and like. When I go up, like my expectation, whether I do all the other mental stuff, my expectation
reality.
Is a bunch of X's, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's my. I should be if I'm grouping arrows, I should be ruining every arrow because I'm just driving them into the back of the other ones, trying to get in the middle of the X.
I'm Levi Morgan.
No, that's literally my mentality, right?
Same here.
And so to go to the nuances is like to be able to do that. We actually want to pursue that. And so we're into tiny little nuances and little things, like trying to figure out every little thing to shooting in the process. And you can get really wrapped up in that and you can start picking apart things that do not need to be picked apart. And you can start criticizing things that do not need to be criticized.
Or focusing on the wrong things.
Yeah, making big things out of little things and little things
out of big things.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's where it can be like your best friend or an absolute curse. Yeah. And so that's where at least that's what we're going to say for you and I don't care what anybody else says. That's why
we're just so good. We just really suck.
Yeah. That's it. See, that perfectly characterizes it. We're so good that we suck, you guys.
Actually, I think our problem is just that we've become so consciously incompetent that we're trying to get that competency level up, but that conscious level is just so high.
It baffles me every time. Like I'll watch a video and I'll be like, oh, that's such good stuff, like Joel Turner or John Dudley or any shooter that is really good, and I'll be like, oh, good stuff, I'm gonna apply that. And then I'll watch another video and be like, oh, so good, I gotta apply that. And then I'll go back and I'll watch a video I watched before, so good, I gotta reapply that. And it's just this constant like, am I ever applying any? Like I think I am, but I'm always missing these incredible steps somehow. I'm like, it's right when I think I start to get it. It's like, not there. And then you can just start going, just like punch the trigger when it's on the X.
One little detail at a time. That
it is. You have to whittle away at. Yeah,
pretty much,
dude. Yeah. So shot processes.
Kind
of reviewing our year and our hunting season, or this
as you get into that. And this will be my confession moment to other people who have asked me why I'm not in the league.
This is the safe space.
Yeah, this is the safe space where
until it goes
where
viral.
Where everyone listens.
So for everybody that by what I mean by everybody, our background. Friends here that have wondered about why Ethan doesn't want to shoot these indoor competitions. Ooh,
hey, sorry,
Bob.
Sorry, Bob.
Yeah,
Coffee buck.
He's going to confess why. And my
here's
theory,
the thing.
And my theory has actually proven true.
Here's the thing: is that technically I have not lied to anyone, because these are all
technically. Well, I know you have legitimate reasons.
These are,
but it's a cover.
These are. I've given some factors why I am not shooting in what is that? What is a shoot competition? What was it?
The indoor, state indoor shoot.
Yeah, that thing, which I'm sure I would just absolutely
and by
murder.
Factors, you mean you've blamed it on your wife?
No.
Where's the bus?
I know you just threw me under one, but I don't actually see the bus.
Okay,
that's not what I said. That's not what
I'm pretty sure you said no. My wife won't let me.
I hate you. This is so bad.
You're a dead man. This is the final episode of VCP with Ethan and Dustin, and from now on it'll just be Dustin.
Oh, what have you done? Okay, but seriously,
I'm totally kidding. You did not blame it on your wife.
This is me being very
vulnerable.
Okay, we get it.
Or is it just being honest?
Yeah, honest. I'm being straightforward. Whatever
forthcoming.
Okay. Anybody who's hung on through this chaos, I swear I'm getting to the reason. Okay, so some of the factors leading up into this, while I talk to my good friends that text me and hound me about joining them, is I have a newborn, and I there's a plethora of things I enjoy to do that take my time, and anything I say yes to is saying no to something else, and anything I say no to is saying yes to something else. And so, I try to balance that.
Very philosophical.
Thank you. I may have said no to joining them on this shoot and trying to get a score to qualify and to join their little outing.
The outing with the boys. But what's the real reason, Sir Ethan?
There may or may not be. I can neither confirm or deny the allegations at hand, but it may be that I'm way too anxious or anxiety filled about shooting in front of a bunch of people. There, I said it. You happy?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there.
Because that was my theory from the get-go.
The best part
I literally told them, I think the real reason is this.
You told them that?
They're like, really? I'm just saying.
I come off like a cocky son of a gun, I tell you what.
But underneath, we're really just a couple of mental midgets.
Well, how many people do you think I'm out hunting with? It's a solo thing. I just tell you what happened, and you guys got to buy it.
Yep.
So, sorry, Ben. Sorry, Caleb.
Just,
There's the truth. This is you're exclusive to the background understanding. Yeah. It took me a little bit, to be honest. Here's the deal. To be honest, I was in a little bit of denial. I knew it was like a part of it, but I didn't realize how big of a part of it was until I really started thinking about it. And when you're like asking and everybody's asking, I'm just like, dude, just leave me alone. I can say no if I don't want to do this.
we wouldn't leave you alone.
I know. But here's the thing. I genuinely was like, the timing was terrible.
Yeah,
It was on my kid's birthday.
Yeah, and you just had a newborn a month ago.
Yeah. So but when I got real with myself, I was like, I probably just don't want to go shoot in front of a bunch of people. But then hold on, the reason I felt comfortable saying that is,
oh boy,
when I heard how bad you did, I was like, I can do better than that.
You're such a jerk.
I know, it was so bad.
Oh, you suck. I probably would suck that bad. Here's the real reason.
Yeah, this would be like this is like 15 minutes of us just laughing.
Okay, but seriously, so that made me more comfortable.
And to be honest, I was
my failures.
No, here's the deal.
Bring it out.
It's one of those things where I just got to get over it because like Bowfest, the same thing. After the first target, I was fine, but like leading up to that, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to shoot in front of all these guys. Like everyone's gonna and everybody's super cool, and I was like, what am I worried about? Because I'm just inexperienced in target shooting, and I have 5 pins. I don't even have a slider sight.
I think that's you're worried about some guy on the line being like, man, I wouldn't have shoot that. I would have had a competition bow.
Yeah, exactly.
And then next thing you know, Ethan would be going out and buying a full Olympic rig.
Yeah, I'd start shooting deer with an Olympic rig, like 4 foot stabilizer, 3 feet off each side.
Just imagine the camera view though, with your GoPro off of that. You'd be right at the deer.
Oh my gosh. Just poking the deer in the side. Oh yeah.
We have lost all seriousness.
Okay, so the truth is out though. Okay, we talk about sharing the highs and lows.
Hey, at least your truth, you were able to confess in a safe space.
Yeah.
Mine, I was just exposed.
You just fell apart.
Like, dude, literally to go from that Monday shooting really well, and there was other people there, and there was some other guy there shooting a recurve, and he was like, "Oh, you're doing really well. Whoa, how are you doing that?" Blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling kind of
like practice rounds or what?"
Yeah, practice. I was like, "Oh," and then we get to the shoot, and I'm like, I can't even hit the whole target.
You're like everything matters now.
I had one arrow where I failed to shoot the actual target, and it hit the cement wall below the target and bounced back.
Oh. You're like yelling in archery range.
Pretty much. I was like Happy Gilmore out there. That's how I felt.
Oh, that's rough.
But hey, the positive of it is I can only go up.
Yeah, that's true.
When I go down the state
shoot.
Yeah.
Me too. My next shooting is going to be great when I go to qualify.
There you go.
So hold on real quick. Side note, is there actually like time to qualify or do that stuff?
Yeah, this weekend.
I should consider it. I should seriously
But
consider
you'd have to drive like to Hibbing.
So you can't,
the cities.
Well, we won't get into the nuances
we'll
here. Anyway, okay.
But
you're
here's the deal. After I came to the realization of like what a little bit more behind it, I was like, yeah, you should probably get over it and just try to do it.
Yeah.
So if it actually does work out on that side of it, I may actually try to get that done.
Well, there you go.
But that's this weekend, like right now.
Yeah, it's the last qualifying weekend.
No,
yeah,
I'm not gonna. Yeah, time is out. But next time,
next year. So
yeah, well, that was interesting.
Yeah. So, but it kind of leads. As I was processing my whole shot process, it's been kind of like I said, an ongoing conversation you and I have been having. Well, conversation most of the time, yelling, arguing with one another some of the time.
You
want to get into that story.
Why not, dude? You're out of control.
Let's well, I'd like to blame it on work and stress and
we got
but really underneath I was just mad at you.
You're triggered.
I was triggered.
I wasn't trying to trigger you, but
that was a great day.
Here's the thing. We found that we were talking about it earlier.
It came down. We were arguing semantics basically, and we were misinterpreting things through text.
Well, we were talking. How did the conversation?
This is what happened. Is you came at me with? You hold on. You came at me.
I was just being vulnerable.
No, you were not. You came at me. And you said.
So we were talking about, somehow we got talking about shot process. That's I don't remember how we got onto it.
No, I was being open and honest. I was like, hey, I recognize like this and this is happening.
Because I think we were talking about like, hey, we should do a podcast about our shot process.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, totally, because I recognize I'm doing this and this when there's deer in front of me, right?
Yep.
And then you go, yeah, you've missed 2 deer this year. You really need to work on that. And I'm literally like looking around the room like, you missed 2 too. What do you mean?
And I was just like, wait. No, I didn't miss 2. Gosh. I've missed 1 and 1 jumped the string.
A miss is a miss. A miss is a miss.
See, we were arguing from 2 different points.
Yeah. Because
you're
talking, and then
text.
You called yelling at me.
I did call yelling at you because I was more frustrated because like you were on your computer and therefore you're able to type, and I'm on my phone just
I'd send like 15 messages before you could get one back.
And then pretty much came out to, you can't type as fast as I can.
That's not what I was thinking, but I was just like, man, he's not making points. Not quick enough.
I couldn't. So then I just called you. even yelled at you.
And then I did some verbal jujitsu because I don't practice real jujitsu. Jits, as you call it, jits.
No, I do
That's
not
what you call it in the
jits.
industry.
That's
jits.
insulting.
And
we won't go there.
And we de-escalated the situation.
We resolved the conflict.
I legitimately, you called, and I was like, "Oh wait, are you actually upset?"
There's one point you're like, dude, you're yelling at me.
I was like, "Are you actually upset?" And
I was.
I thought you were calling
I was
me
so
like joking.
It was triggered. No, like it just struck a nerve.
You were
that
like,
day.
"My shot process was perfect. The deer jumped the string. That doesn't count as a miss." Is how I was taking it. I don't know if you actually said those words or not. And I was like, but
then you're like,
and then I was
what
like,
about the clicker?
Well, I was just like, "Did the arrow hit the deer?" And it was like, "No."
And so then,
Really?
so then
It's a
we
miss. But I'm like, I didn't miss it. It was just a miss.
So then we just started pushing buttons back and forth for a little bit.
So and then we resolved it. And
moral of the story: Dustin took ownership that he was super wrong, and I was way correct, and that's really good verbiage. And I think that's what we want to take away from that, right?
hit the pause button.
And we're back.
Bloody nose.
Just kidding. So, but anyway, but it is important. We did want to talk about our shop process.
We're getting nowhere
because. First of all, let's I'm gonna give a plug for someone who doesn't sponsor us at all.
Yes.
Before this year started, I was like, dude,
We started talking about different broadheads, right? And
Yeah.
when I had started, I basically inherited the idea of expandables in 2018. Like that's just what I didn't do.
Complete 180.
I'm doing a real quick plug.
All right.
Real quick plug. And I was like, okay, for how much? Basically, I used Rage broadheads every shot. I used them. The blades bent, ruined, got chipped, everything, whatever. And then the next year, we started looking into broadheads way deeper, and you were helping me out with that. And I went with iron whales this year.
Basically yelling at you.
I was like, if I don't lose a broadhead and I get like 5 shots at something, even if I miss the deer, but I can use the broadhead again, I'm like, I'm going to be saving myself money. And I've had like 1, 2, 3.
How many deer did you?
There's 4. No. This is the thing. So I had the one deer that I hit.
I'm trying to trigger you.
And what's the we'll call it the much debated no man's land.
The miss?
Yeah.
The miss? Would that be a miss?
No, that's a bad shot. Just like a miss is a bad shot.
But you missed.
Exactly. I mean,
what you're aiming at.
Yeah. Okay. So, but anyway, I had the one deer that I
screwed up on and hit what I would call the no man's land. We can all debate whether that's real or not. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then the buck I had to pass through. So 2 pass throughs, got both arrows and still like pretty sharp to the touch. And then the doe I had a bad shot on, but recovered. I had to put another arrow in it and everything like pass through, and all arrows great, all broadheads great. I've saved myself a bunch of money, and I'll be buying the wider broadheads this next year.
Boom.
So
Iron whale.
Yeah, check them out, guys. Seriously, consider it.
Yeah.
And the whole
I think we
problem I had was my shot placement, not the broadheads.
might do an equipment recap, and
we might have
talk a little more about that.
Okay, so shot process though. I just had to get that in though because
So let's go back to last year. Last year, you and I, we both started listening and watching stuff from Joel Turner.
Yes.
We talked about kind of the mindset behind the shot process and creating being present and creating closed loop circuits versus open loop. So basically, quick recap, closed loop is basically creating a process which you can stop the shot process at any point you choose, which is...
You're not letting slip into the unconscious.
Yeah, which is... compared to an open loop, which is you have no control, kind of almost like swinging a baseball bat.
Yep.
Once you start swinging, you just have to swing it.
Finish no matter what. Yep.
Yeah. Versus closed loop is you're able to maintain control, almost like lifting weights.
Yeah. Yep.
You have that ability to stop and go
slow and under control. Yep. And you're totally present.
Yep.
With what's happening.
And
and that is a flipping battle.
And the whole idea is when it comes to actually shooting, your whole focus is focused on what you need to do,
right?
Executing the shot, and you're not worried at all about what happens downrange. What happens downrange is what happens downrange, and you learn and assess afterwards. But you're not concerned.
Yeah, because you don't have control over what's
you have no control.
That's the future.
And all you're doing is
you're in the present.
Focus on is what's happening back
with
here.
Your mechanics.
Yeah, your mechanics.
And where your mind's at.
That's been something that you and I we've both tried working on this year,
dude.
Through
battle,
various means, whether the various releases that or learn how to manipulate the release in a good way, or in my case, having good mechoreceptive mechanical triggers.
Wow.
I don't forget some big fancy word he uses. Yeah.
Next level.
Yeah, next level. Psycho triggers, as other people call them.
Okay.
And just having, like, your whole process is having a goal to pull through.
Yep.
You know, and so, you know, we've both been working on that.
Oh, yeah.
And we learned a lot about that at BowFest. A lot of good lessons, you know, from, you know, picking up our heads. Look like you're twitching like
you're watching on YouTube.
We go back. We'll post a link to that. You need to go back and watch that video. It's a great video.
It's like a mini. Yeah, that was the worst part. Is that like, it's supposed to be like this mini highlight of
almost like he has Tourette's.
It's like you draw. It was like showing a sequence of like 10 to 15 me drawing the bow, and then the sequence of me releasing all those right in a row.
And every single one.
You see my head go right as I'm releasing, basically. And so anyway, it was.
And for me, like, I just wasn't pulling through my shots, executing what I needed to execute, and so we got a lot of good data to gather and learn. And so we really worked on practicing that in the fall, and I thought we were doing really good.
So did I,
until
and
then it came to shooting a deer, and we didn't go anywhere.
And now that's what we're going to talk about for a second.
So you got to shoot first. Go through kind of a high level, you know, lessons that you kind of learned, diagnosing what and where you screwed up.
Okay, just let me take a deep breath here. Okay.
He's in for it.
So what happened? So here
there it was.
Yeah. So this is what I've recognized this year, and I think a little bit of it is, let's just say what's happened in each encounter with a deer, and each time that I've taken or was going to take a shot, there has been a huge level of not all of them were adrenaline dumps, but my heart rate skyrockets. Just everything's
adrenaline.
Like, let's go.
Not like not the level I had. Where you have a complete meltdown.
Yeah. But it is where you the fighting that conscious state of, am I actually present here, or is it like you kind of? I mean, I've had shots where I don't remember the shot, like what happened during the shot.
So you're kind of losing focus on, rather than being focused on pulling, you know, doing what you need to do. You're more focused on like, oh, I got to put an arrow through that.
Yeah. Because if I'm focused on what I'm going to do, it's like the fine motor skills. Yep. Those are conscious. But like when you get that adrenaline dump, you're fine. It's all you can.
It's all gross. Yeah, motor skills.
Exactly. And so I was having that because I was so amped to be around deer. Like, I love it and I'm so excited about it. And I think that a part of that, I don't want all of it to leave, but a part of that is just experience in the field, actually being around deer. The other part that I think is experience in being around deer is I recognize, like, when these moments start where it's like, oh, I've seen a deer, and then like this moment's about to start happening. Yeah. There's a high level of fear that I'm going to miss an opportunity to shoot. Yeah. And so the very first opportunity is what I'm looking for, instead of waiting for the right opportunity.
And that's something I've recognized too that I struggle with, is just like, oh shoot, there's a deer. It might take off. I need to shoot it right now. Yeah. As soon as I can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's definitely something.
And so like, for example, like there's, you know, the doe that I got came in quartering two pretty good, and the deer's coming in, and I'm in my mind, I'm going, every time they look up, every time they move, it's like, oh, that's because of me. That's because of me. That's because of me. I got to make sure I get this, I got to seal the deal. Yeah. And so instead of going, okay, well, until I get a broadside shot, I'm just going to
broadhead shot.
Yeah. Until I get a broadside shot opportunity, I'm just going to wait, or I'm not going to take the shot. And I had not, like, that didn't enter my mind. And so, after kind of rehashing and re-looking at some of those things, realizing that there's that time, feeling like there's this time constraint, which is probably true, or not probably, it's true that there is, but you have to prioritize.
And maybe that time constraint,
the lethality of your shot,
bigger than, much bigger than what we think it is.
Yes. Yeah. It's possible that it is. And ultimately, like, with the doe that here's the thing. The doe that I had shot, which is actually on video, you can see it. It's high and back in the deer, and it's quartering two. I mean, it went out.
Which high and back kind of seems to be like kind of the, I don't want to say MO, but kind of the repeated pattern of a lot of your shots.
Yeah. I'd have to think about. I think so, except for that buck right here. I think it's. That's me making an excuse.
Every squirrel finds a nut.
That one, that one at 10 yards was a real tough shot. Just put all my pins on it and let her fly. Although funny story is that was the most present shot I took this year was with that buck being there.
Must have been like coffee.
Yeah. And but what happened, like this is I guess the price I paid is that's why I'm going to talk about this next part is I shot the deer high and back and it was quartering too strong enough that it went out its hind quarter, and that's where any of the blood was coming out.
Okay.
And so I'm following this blood that night of, and so you can watch again.
Quartering away from, or quartering to.
Yep.
Yeah, quartering to.
Yep. And so I followed blood that night, bumped the deer, saw I was wounded, left it, and then came back with a friend a couple hours later, followed it through town, trying to see where it went, because this whole time I basically feel sick. I'm like, I can't believe. Like, all this is preventable, basically, is where my mind's at. And it takes until we see the deer, and it's with a group of other deer, and it's hanging back a little bit. We see where it goes, and we're like, all right, let's hopefully it beds there. I'll come back in the morning, check it out. Come back in the morning. I'm checking in with homeowners, like, hey, this deer's back here. Can I have your permission to go dispatch it, basically? And, they're like, yep. And so I go back there, and then the deer gets up. And it's, I'm literally like chasing this deer trying to get a shot because I'm trying to put it out of its misery. Like, it's seriously disgusting. It makes me feel sick. And like I posted, it's like, I feel more relieved than excited about this. Like, I'm so glad it's over and that I still pursued it and like followed through. But even after that, it's like finally got a second arrow into it, and then it goes into a neighbor's yard.
Oh, jeez.
And I talked to that landowner, and it happened to be a lady she's like, oh, I just got my first archery deer this year. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Well, there's a deer expiring in your backyard. Is it cool if I come back and get it later? And so they were cool with it. And I come back later, and her husband, I'm like, he texts me, letting me know that it was done. And I come back later, and he's like, hope. And it was like a backhanded, hilarious thing. And he's like, hope it goes better next time.
And really all that to say, it was like,
one, don't give up on a deer you've shot. Because it was like over 3 miles in 24 hours. And literally chasing it from one.
Suckers. Dude, they're amazingly tough sometimes.
And some people are amazingly stupid. Me. But the point of it was like, at the end of it, was like, was that really worth it? Was that worth me not being patient? Was that worth me not passing that deer if that's what it came down to?
Yeah.
Like, that's how important your shot process is.
Yeah.
That deer could have been, basic. Had I not followed it, because it was not a lethal shot, but it was obviously bothering the deer enough because it quit bleeding. But once it got back up, it was bleeding again.
Yeah.
But it could have been infection that killed it over time, and then just really disappointing, right? Yeah. And so there's a lot of disappointment in it, a lot of really hard lessons, because you feel really gross and it's really embarrassing when you're like, yeah, I shot this deer really crappily. But I do like find some peace that. I pursued it and didn't let it suffer as best I could.
So all that to say, it's the shot process. It comes back to this moment of, am I patient enough? Am I going to wait for the right shot? And I mean, honestly, my arrow's built to the way where I could have put it through the front of that deer.
Yeah.
And I think I would have been fine.
Probably.
Yeah. Because I said,
yeah.
I wish I would have. I wish I would have.
You should have hit that vital V.
I was thinking I had those rage broadheads.
Fairy talks about.
The rage in the cage. No, rage stuck in the cage. Rage no pass through the cage. We're gonna get some hate mail. No, they both have their place.
Yeah.
Dustin's like,
one in the garbage can.
I knew it. I knew where you were going. Oh, but yeah. So that I don't know. For me, that like highlighted how important it is. And it was a tough
so
time.
For you would say it kind of comes down to having patience, being present, and then just focused on what you need to do rather than being focused on kind of what that arrow is going to do.
Yeah, really, I'd say be focused on quit being so focused on the opportunity escaping.
Okay.
Because if I do everything I need to do, because the thing is that I was already at full draw before the deer was out. So all I had to do was wait for the right step. Yeah. There's another deer behind it, coming in as well. I don't know if there's 2 or 3, but there was more deer coming in. And it's like, in hindsight, right? 2020. But it's like, all I had to do was hold full draw. I mean, since I was only at full draw for like 20 seconds. Yeah. So if I just held full draw, I could probably hold for 2-3 minutes, and that's so much that's going to happen in that time. Yeah. And so things like that, where it's like, this is rough lessons to learn, and it's real and it sucks, and it is what it is now. And so just trying to glean as much information as I can from it now.
Well, that's really similar to a lot of the same dynamics I went through as well. I mean, for me, I didn't get an opportunity to even shoot at a deer till this last month and in our sub-metro hunts. And I lose 3 arrows. And all 3 times, definitely different lessons learned. The first one was we were out. It was that we have actually the video up on YouTube of the public land dispute hunting video where Ethan and I went out and ran.
I think I relabeled it because people were getting pissed. They were like,
even though it was funny.
They thought it was clickbait, but
it was clickbait, but it was for fun. It was for fun because we ran into another buddy or a couple other buddies,
and then 4 of us hunting on the ground. And then we had 2 opportunities at like a total of 10.
It's a great video. You should go watch it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's fun. So we had that opportunity where we had deer coming in. And much like you, I think one of my big deals was like I felt pressured, like, oh, I need to get a shot off.
Yeah.
And so I remember that one deer coming in where I was able to get drawn back.
The second time?
Yeah, the second time. Yeah, the first time the deer were they were just tuned into something and they weren't really giving us a whole lot of opportunity. But the second wave of deer that came in, and when I got an opportunity to draw back, kind of a couple of things that was going through my mind was, I realized I totally made a huge mental mistake of like I held for 20.
No, you went over, so you held for 25, and then the deer was at like 20, remember?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I held for 25. And the
which
deer was
for
at 20.
trad bow is a big...
that 5-yard difference
right,
is huge.
It's not as huge. That's where I just want to clarify for compound. Obviously,
you're like an inch.
Yeah, it's not that
whereas
big
like the trad, for me, that is a good 6 inches.
Yeah.
And then I ended up totally screwing up the shot because I didn't pull through my clicker.
Yeah, you weren't being responsible for what you were responsible
exactly.
for, right?
Like I got there and I thought like, oh shoot, I need to fire, and ended up releasing. And not only did I do that, but I also, like you, I pulled my head up to look at the air.
Did I hit it?
Pretty much. Like, did I hit it? Because I was so focused on what was happening downrange rather than just focusing on what was happening back here, focusing on what I needed to do. I wasn't focused on that at all. I was focused on what's going to happen. Dead deer, finally going to make this happen.
Yeah, in front of all my friends.
Yeah, and it completely screwed it up. And so then,
so funny.
A couple weeks later, got another opportunity to shoot another deer. And actually the last 2 opportunities, both very similar. Had deer come around kind of this shrub. I was able to get drawn back, and those shots were much better as far as execution wise, because that was really such a good learning lesson with that first deer.
You talked to your homie, dude.
Yeah, and I talked to Joel Turner, and we were talking about kind of processing what I did and didn't do, and for me was not pulling through the clicker, not. That's my only goal, is to pull through the clicker, which for those who don't understand, I have this little metal tab set up on a limb with the string going to my bowstring. And once I get anchored, I pull back through, and then that little tab makes a little clicky noise. And so
it's like a draw stop.
It's a draw stop, draw check. It's a psycho trigger to say, hey, you've gotten the full draw, boom, release. What it does is it gives me a goal. It allows me to focus on what's being present on the shot process.
Yeah.
And my whole goal is to just pull through that. And so that next deer, that was all I was focused on, was pulling through that. And I did that part.
Mm-hmm. That was a deer you didn't miss.
The deer that got missed, I didn't miss. It was missed.
The deer didn't do what it was supposed to.
Yeah, the deer didn't do what it was supposed to.
So,
I
12 ringed it had the deer not moved.
Yeah. Which, I've got some theories.
I digress.
Yeah, we won't go into that, because the last 2 deer both, I think, jumped the arrow, string, bow, whatever. The sound. Well, the first one, I think, or the second deer, I think my clicker was really loud, so that kind of gave it a little like, oh hey, yeah, because it going off would sound like a click, and rather than just a nice little dull. Mm-hmm. And so it jumped the string, whatever. It missed the deer, no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
But that
absolutely,
yeah. The arrow missed. I didn't miss. The arrow missed.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I
didn't have those heat-seeking iron wheels on it.
I'm telling you, dude. Yeah, man. It's
can I borrow some?
Pay dividends.
I mean, you only need one.
Yeah, evidently.
But it was a good lesson to learn, even though the outcome wasn't there.
Yeah.
But learning, okay, hey. But then also too, just looking back as well, and kind of looking at those opportunities and like you really realizing like, hey, I feel really rushed in these situations. Yeah. Actually, the second deer, not so much, just because I had to wait because there was like 15 to 20 deer that had poured out and you're just milling around for 15, 20 minutes. I had to wait for a shot opportunity. So there, I didn't feel rushed in that one.
What, 30 to 40 eyes? You can't figure it out?
Consciously incompetent.
Yeah, there you go.
I felt really conscious about how incompetent I was at that moment.
What do you do? I've never had too many deer before. Yeah. This is nice. I guess not. Never mind. They can't draw.
Yeah, I've realized that 20 deer is not nice compared to one. One is really nice. But overall, I think part of my experience is gaining more experience so I can slow down.
Yeah,
make those shot opportunities really count. Give myself more time. Give the whole hunting experience a little more time rather than just being like, oh, deer, I need to shoot. Bam. Let them set in and be there so I can be there myself and be present in my whole shot process as well. And part of that it comes down to experience. And we just need to get out there and do it and have those reps. And then I think part of that too is going out and doing these competitions, whether
I think you're making it up
for the rest of us who aren't afraid of people.
I don't know.
And their judgment.
I got 2 deer. I'm good. Just kidding. I'm so fortunate.
So I think it's just get exposing, and I know this from all my other years of competing is just giving myself exposure. Yeah, and jits. The sophisticated, like they call it jiu-jitsu. If you're Brazilian, you call it Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Very high nose of you.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
But that's actually, I've talked about this, but that was actually kind of the one, I think, parallel experiences I had this last year in both hunting / shooting, and then with my jiu-jitsu competitions. Sorry, coffee buck. Was both areas I realized one of my big key mistakes was I just need to slow it down.
Yeah.
And I did that in the second half of the year in jiu-jitsu competitions was, I slowed it down, and I found a lot more success with that.
Okay. Here's a really hopefully not totally stupid, but a really weird illustration, because for me during football when I was playing, it took me, like, I got to a point where I realized, I'm like, oh, I got to have one really hard, like, as a sophomore playing, I was in varsity, I was like, I need to get one really hard hit out of the way. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's a ball carrier or another guy. And then the game just
slows down.
I'm like, oh, okay, I'm in. But I had a few games early on where I was like, everything was fast paced. And I was like, oh, at what point does this slow down? And then it was like, good smack. And so I don't know what the
metaphorical smack is in one of these things. Seriously, I don't know what it is. But there's something about it where I was like, after that hit, the initial collision, it was like, okay, I'm in it.
So I'm wondering when it comes to hunting,
is,
I mean, obviously sometimes you are legitimately limited by time, but maybe it's just exposing ourselves to situations and going out and having deer come in and not doing anything about it for the first little bit and just letting them be.
See, that's what you're probably
hard.
Not
it's
wrong.
hard. It's
probably
hard
not
because
wrong, but
opportunity versus
That's where it's difficult, because I have like spike buck comes in early season and it's like, well, I know I'm not going to shoot that, so there's not that.
I had a big old 20-pointer come in, but I wanted to grow my experience.
Grow. Just wanted to kind of pad my time around deer, just build those stats up.
Maybe Cade will let us go out and
Cade, can we just sit there with our bow and just shake really bad?
No, but like that's hard. That's hard to say. Like if that would be
I don't know. You've had a lesson though recently too of you're listening to, what was it, Remy Warren?
Yeah. Because this is so cool. I'm so awesome, you guys. It's unreal. No, okay, but I was listening to Remy Warren. It's episode 25 of Cutting the Distance, and he talks about how important it can be to use small game as basically practice for shooting your bow, executing a shot process. Now he talks about making it so it is subconscious. So whether you believe that or what we're talking about, whatever. But the idea of it is that you're getting reps in at shooting at an animal, and it is so much different when you're shooting at big game compared to small game. And so I was out the last 2 times I went out. right when time was about to run out, I was like, all right, well, deer aren't here. And we had rabbits there. So the first one was at 25 yards. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to practice. And iron wheels might have been a little overpowered, but hey, iron wheels and 500 grain arrows.
Did you get a pass through?
No, I got a pass through on the first bunny's face, and at 25 yards, and I was like, oh, sweet.
I hope PETA's not listening to this.
I hope they are. Make good meals. And then the next time I went out, same deal. Right at the end of the night, I was like, well, I mean, I'm going to eat the rabbit. So the next night I went out, and there was a rabbit at 20 yards and passed through. Of course, through the face again.
I would hope so.
At 20 yards. And I'm just like feeling super good. And I was like, oh, this is a really good way. I wouldn't do this with all my arrows for sure, but it's a really good way to build confidence in your process where you don't have that crazy adrenaline dump. Like I was notably present in the shot.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay, where are my pins at? Okay, where are my anchors at?
That's pretty much an X-ray.
I was taking my time. I was like, if it runs away, no big deal, whatever.
Yeah.
And so it was just like all this practice of like mentally going through it without like the insanity of it being big game.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, that's where I recognize like, okay, that's where I need to get. I'm not sure how to get there yet, but this is a good start. Like practicing on small game.
Well, I even think back to, turkey hunt in the spring. I just started shooting my trad bow not even a month before. And I decided, hey, I'll just take this turkey hunt. Because why not?
Yeah.
And I sucked at shooting because I couldn't tell distance or really hit what I was aiming at.
Hold on, pause, time out. I don't know what episode it is, you guys, but you know the episode I'm talking about where he talks about being able to judge distance perfectly, and he defended himself to the nth degree.
Okay.
Going on. No.
I can judge distance.
You don't need to rebuttal.
I just couldn't hit it with my bow.
Keep going. Okay.
Being able to know distance, hit distance, consciously incompetent.
I'm so smitten right now.
You're hit pause.
There you go.
Yeah, we're gonna start.
And we're back.
Yeah, we're back. But the thing, I mean, regardless of, I knew my shooting ability wasn't that good.
Yeah.
But I never felt that adrenaline rush. I never felt the nervousness of like, oh, I don't want to miss.
Big game.
Yeah. Compared to the deer.
Yep.
Yep. And the weird thing is these deer, and they're so much bigger than these stupid little turkeys.
Yeah.
Which have, a vital of like, a baseball.
Yeah.
Or a rabbit.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, man, why do we put so much pressure on ourselves, But you're right. I think getting out there, getting those experiences with smaller game, I think that will go a long ways.
Yeah. Well, and I agree with you too, because I did have a couple opportunities when I was putting a stock on, which that was the fun part, like the adrenaline part. And then when I was at full draw trying to get the right opportunity, and I didn't have an opportunity, and I was like, oh, okay. But I had all this like experience leading up to that too. So you're totally right. I hadn't thought about that yet even.
Ooh, I got an idea.
Yeah. What
we need to do is get some like Nerf bows.
Yeah.
Oh, go shoot them at our kids.
Yes. I got plenty.
You got plenty? I got plenty of kids.
Dude, sweet. If you guys want to join us.
I think this is going to be how we get better. How'd you improve your shooting? I shot my kids.
Yeah, I executed that shot process so well.
Dude.
I know where they bed.
Yeah.
I got their pattern down.
And I know where they eat.
Pattern perfectly.
I'm looking forward to this year. Just getting out. I think another part of our goal get better is doing hopefully some more 3D shoots.
Yes.
And getting out early mornings and shooting with one another and really focusing on the process. And I think that's just a big key is focus on the process.
And can I mention something?
I'll give you permission.
Cool. Thanks, Dusty. So we didn't mention this last episode. Yeah, you go ahead now.
No, go ahead. I don't have no clue what you're talking about. So
it has to do with releases.
Oh no. So okay. So I'll go ahead. So we're proud to present that Minister Ethan Taylor.
That's me.
That's him right there. Got selected to be part of
handpicked.
Yeah, handpicked. Random drawing.
It's not random. How dare you?
Got picked to be part of the Hot Shot Archery releases. What was it? Pro staff.
So it starts out.
Staff. It's like a field staff deal.
Yeah, field staff, and then with potential to be pro staff.
So, but it's a really cool opportunity.
Yeah,
and also, shameless plug. Even as a trad guy, which I don't use releases anymore. I really love Hot Shot as a company.
Yeah,
they're just a great small company. I love their motto. We're not out here to create. What was it? We're not out here to create the
most
release or the most.
Go ahead. It's okay.
I'm gonna have to look it up. Like
you look it up, and I'll talk about it for a second.
Yes, go ahead.
So, so field staff, and the idea is
basically I used it for all but one of the deer so far that I've gotten. Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah, he's got it now.
Our goal is not to be the most popular archery releases, but to be the highest quality releases available.
Boom goes the dynamite.
I think they really back that up.
They really do. Yeah. And they were nice enough to give me the opportunity, knowing that I'm only a couple years into this. I've used their release
and who got you onto Hot Shot?
It was Dusty.
Dusty. Oh,
Dusty.
This guy.
Yeah, you did it.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. So anyway, so they've given me the opportunity to be a part of their field staff. And so basically what that means is I'm already doing what I do anyway. Like anything that we're using or believe in, we post about as it is.
Yeah.
And so, and the stuff that they quote unquote require to be field staff it's lower than what I do already. So it's not going to be this inundate of whatever, but I do want people to be able to ask questions. I do have discounts, all that jazz. But the main thing is that I genuinely want to explore their releases. And I'm going to start documenting that, I think, this summer as we go through some stuff.
Ethan's going to pull off a Dusty move here, and maybe not 40, but we're going to experiment with different releases.
Yeah, we're going to check out. I'm going to just start using, I've always used an index, right? And so I'm going to start toying around with kind of each one. I think I have some resources. Hashtag thank you, Levi.
Levi.
You're the man.
Our man, Levi.
He's hooking me up with some stuff to try out before I buy it.
And I'm going to try this stuff and like give you guys my opinion, what I think about it. And I would be doing it probably whether I was field staff or not. So that's kind of the idea. Like we're already doing it.
Watch out for future videos coming. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Yeah.
So
if any questions or all that jazz, please feel free to ask.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well,
anyhow, back shot process 2020. Dude. What's our goal? What's going to be our goal this year? What's your goal? I guess we can have different process? Goals. Yeah. What's your goal?
It's a good question. I think the word that comes to mind is present. Like that, if I had to encapsulate it in one word, it would be present. I need to be present. And whether it's because I'm amped up because I think the moment's going to be gone, or because there's 5 or 10 or 20 or thousands of people watching me shoot an arrow, I need to be present with what I'm under control of, and all that matters is me executing my job. And so if I can get better at that this year, I don't expect to be perfect. I'm sure going to try to be perfect and make sure every arrow is intentional.
You're not Jesus, so
exactly. Thank you. I know. So yeah, I would say that is my biggest overarching goal. And if that means I change releases, whatever, as far as like it helps me execute it better.
No release will help you execute better.
Oh, that's all right. In the process. Yeah, you're right. It's in the process.
We had that discussion.
Yes, but there are legitimate like mechanical things that
will aid in an easier process.
Yes, exactly. And so that'll be a part of it, I think, as well. But the biggest thing is just being present and not getting caught up in everything else going on around me. What about you?
I think for me, kind of one word. Well, just more the matter of like pulling through. I think for me that is, especially with,
kind of one word.
Kind of one word. It's like two words connected to equal one word. It's hyphenated. Yeah. Hyphenated. So it's like, anyhow.
It's late. We'll give it to you. Yeah. It's 1 a.m. We'll give it to you.
Nice. But just like, it's the same with the compound, like any bow, but especially with the recurve, I feel it more. But just that idea for me, like pulling through. Yeah, getting through my clicker, whether my clicker or whatever other psycho trigger mechanism that I have set up, really pulling through. And that was something I struggled with this last year. And it just really hit home after that conversation with Joel the other day and that failure to pull through on that deer. And noticing the shot quality difference between the times I do and don't pull through. Even if I've noticed, like, even times when, like, I'll be full drawn, I might be shaking. Yeah. And if I pull through, like, I actually group decently versus, like, I could be super calm and be like, and off into left field. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah. It baffles me. Like, when I went out, I did that shoot with Caleb. We were just going around, playing around. It's like golf.
You're never a playing. It's always like, serious.
Yeah, it's seriously
winning
like,
or learning.
If anybody golfs, it's like, especially if you're really bad. If you're really bad like me, It takes like one good shot to like make the whole day. You're like, oh, okay, I'll stick with it. It was moments like that where I was like, I was shaky, but I know I executed it well. I couldn't see where the arrow hit because of.
And then you walk up and you're like, oh, I X-framed it.
I'm like, that's the one that I'm like, I felt good about it, but I didn't feel like from the shaky whatever. Yeah. But like focusing on what I was under control of, I was like, oh, that actually works. And it's like this idea of like you're trying to like build this trust in the process. Like actually, like we say, trust in the process, but it takes work to actually get there and actually like continually do that. Cause you're like, oh, but my pin's floating. It's like, that's going to happen. Get used to it.
Let the subconscious do what the subconscious does best.
Yep. Exactly.
Just take the conscious and focus on what I need to do. So that for me is just learning to pull through, execute a good shot. So
all right, dude,
man, I think it's time we wrap this up and probably get to bed.
Dude, I think it's bedtime. All right, cool. You guys follow us on Instagram. Check us out on Facebook.
Yeah.
You guys can watch this on YouTube if you're not already. There's tons of antics on there. Not really, but you can see us. And then also we're on basically any podcast thing.
Yeah, you can check it out. If you're not part of it, check out our Venator Chronicles community page.
Yeah.
If you haven't joined, please join the conversation, because this is just more than just Ethan and I. This is everybody. This is us as hunters growing together and sharing stories and learning all the wonderful microcosm lessons of life through
it's so good. It's so good. Man, we love the sound of our own voice, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Anyhow,
we're leaving you guys now.
All right. Peace out.